This video is to serve as a guideline to talk about the course, the resources you have, what to expect, and how you'll be graded. Please, if you have any questions, if there's anything not covered here or anything that's uncertain, send me an email, or you can meet with me during one of the Zoom meetings. Because this is an online course, it might be a little different than courses you've taken before. We've had to make adjustments. And so I just want to talk about how it will work, what to expect, and how you can do well in the course. So this is the web page. All of you have access to Blackboard. Hopefully you're familiar with Blackboard. If not, you will be. So everything you have is here. And a lot of it is duplicated. So you're going to be using these links on the left-hand side. The first one is daily links. But before we go through these, let's look at the syllabus and the course calendar, and we'll review those. Okay, so the syllabus is here. In the link, there's some additional stuff. When we click on that, sorry, it's taking just a minute for my computer to load. Maybe. There we go. Sorry about that. So you've got syllabus. It's a Word document. I've already got it downloaded here, but you can access it there. You also have the calendar. Those are the two things that are unique to the course. These other things are just standard stuff that the university puts up about how Blackboard works, resources you have for the computer, things like that. So really, the only thing course specific that you won't see on other Blackboard pages are these first two. So when you click on the syllabus, you're going to get this file here. Let's review that. So this is a Word document, talks about the course. Now originally this course was scheduled for Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 to 9:45. So it's an hour and 45 minutes every day. And this is something to remember. If you haven't taken a summer course before, it's pretty intense. It's fast. There are good things and bad things about that. The bad thing is if you fall behind, it's easy to get behind very, very quickly. So please keep up. And that might even be more of a tendency since things are online, you don't have a set time. You know, you might say, oh, I'm tired, I can do that tomorrow. And if you do that once or twice, that's not a big deal if you get caught up quickly. But if you keep putting it off, if you get behind, it's really going to be hard and it's going to be a lot of material for you to do in a short amount of time. So please keep up. I've provided a schedule for you. We'll look at the calendar in a little bit. And also daily reminders, folders that have lists of everything that you need to do on that day. Okay, so I'm Dr. Matthew Terry. You're going to hear my beautiful voice but not see my pretty face so much. I think it's just not necessary. But if you need to contact me, the fastest way to do it is email. Email is here. My office phone number, I'm off campus much of the time, although I'm still going in to do some research, but phone is a hard way to get a hold of me. But email me, I'll check those daily. I've set office hours for the time being Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. I will be on Zoom. I'm available to answer questions, review things, talk general questions, really whatever you need to do during that hour. If that hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, doesn't work with you, I'm happy to meet at other times. I changed it from the 8 a.m. because I think most people either are going to be working or sleeping at 8 a.m. Since you don't have to come to class. All of the material is posted online, so you don't need to do anything at 8 a.m., even though that was the original time scheduled for the course. But if 4 to 5 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday doesn't work for you, we can set another time. Or if you really want to have more of a regular one, I can change those times. I'm not set on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if I even have a couple of students that say, well, let's change one of those days to a noon or another time that's convenient, whatever is convenient for you. I'm fairly flexible with that time. I've set up a recurring meeting, so we'll always use this same meeting ID number. You can click on the link there also, and hopefully you're familiar with Zoom. If not, you can download the software or run it through a browser. And it just is a face-to-face interface. I can share screens, I can review things, we can talk and ask questions. So we'll do that. I'll be available at least 3 hours every week. I'll just be there hanging out, doing work if no one's there, but hopefully you'll come in and ask questions, review things, go over things, ask for help on worksheets, that sort of thing. Okay. I'll let you read the course objectives, fairly standard stuff for evolution. There are 4 components of this course upon which you will be graded. Okay, the first and the largest portion of your grade will be exams. Now, because we have an online format, it's a little different than other semesters. All of your exams will be administered online. Okay, they're all multiple choice, 50 questions. So that means you'll have pretty much open available resources. You still need to do it. You need to take the course. They're just administered on Blackboard the same way the quizzes are, but in a longer format. Not everybody will get the exact same exam. So there are pools of questions that will draw. So you'll all have the same basic level of hardness with random questions drawn from these different pools. And so you may not see the same questions, or at least not all of the same questions that another student sees. But other than that, you'll have open resources. You can look at your notes. You can look at your the discussions, your book, whatever you want to do. So there is a lot of leeway there. There is, however, a time limit. So for these tests, you will have basically 1 class period, which is really a very long time for taking a standard test of 50 questions. So you'll have 1 hour and 45 minutes. But what that means is you're not going to be able to double check and look up and read and teach yourself every single question. If you do that on a few, it's not a problem, but most you should have a pretty good idea. If you go over that time limit, there's not much I can do. So you just need, you'll just be, whatever you completed will be what you do. But 1 hour and 45 minutes, like I say, is very, very ample time to do a multiple choice test with 50 questions. Okay. There is a final exam, so 5 exams in total. The final exam is comprehensive and will be composed of equal parts of all of the other ones. So we'll talk a little bit more about the types of questions we'll see on the final as we get closer. Okay. The date for the final is Tuesday, July 7th. It'll be all day. You can take it any time on the July 7th. I'll even have it the day before, which is technically the reading day or the study day. But you could take it early if you needed to. Okay. Every week there are 2 quizzes, mostly on Tuesday and Thursday. If we have an exam on that day, then it's on a different day, and they're all listed on the calendar. The quizzes are on Blackboard. They're available all day the day they're listed and all day the day after. So you can procrastinate a little bit, but it's better to take it earlier rather than later. The quiz covers all of the material that was done since the last quiz. So for instance, our first quiz is coming up on Tuesday. It will cover Monday and Tuesday's material. So you want to make sure you do everything you need to on that Tuesday before you take the quiz. And the last element in each daily link will be the quiz, but make sure you go over all the material for that day. Okay. There are 10 quizzes throughout the semester. The lowest one will be dropped, and then I'll just take an average of all the rest, and that will be your quiz score for the course. Okay, the other 2 components are worksheet. There are going to be 5 of them spread throughout the semester. They are black Word documents that you can download. You can fill them out. You can write on them and take a picture. You need to submit them in either JPEG, PDF, or Word format. They'll be posted in Word format. You can just type right into Word and save it that way if that's easiest. But some people like doing them by hand. You can take a picture with your phone and upload them in PDF. That's fine too if you want to, or JPEG, one of the 2. That's fine also. Whatever is most convenient to you, but they do need to be turned in online. You can't do physical versions of these. I highly recommend. It's a little harder since we're remote, and so it's fine if you don't want to, if it's not useful for you. But I think it's useful for most people to do those in groups. So you can use other people's input notes, but you need to turn in your own. So if you do it in a group of 3, that's fine, but everyone should turn in a copy of the worksheet. You don't turn in a group version. Okay. If you turn in a worksheet late after the due date, they will be penalized 25% for each day. So after 3 days, there's no point in turning them in because that's 0%. And those are all posted online. They'll be up in ample time, many days before they're due. I'll post review versions of those, kind of example ones, sometimes exactly the same, but mostly just similar, that you can use to help guide you through. In addition, I'm more than happy to answer questions about worksheets. If you attend those Zoom meetings or if you set up an appointment, I'll help you with the questions. So there really is no reason why you shouldn't do very well on all those worksheets. Finally, the last one, I'm calling them enrichment exercises, but really they're reading, I guess, sorry, the reading assignments. Um, yeah, so sorry, the enrichment exercises are something different. I'll delete that and upload the new version. The last component are reading assignments. So the reading assignments are in lieu of attendance grades. I typically do take attendance because I think it's valuable for students to have some incentive to show up, and they're free points. So if you show up, you get the points. Now, since we're doing this remotely without having a physical class, the substitute is having a short question, two, sometimes maybe three questions for each of the reading assignments. So on the day the reading assignment is assigned, you will need to answer questions. Now, these are still basically participation points. So I probably won't even read them, or at least not closely, no matter what you put. As long as it's not just nonsense, you'll get credit for it. So they can be short, they can be summaries, they can be just, as long as you're making an effort to show that you actually read the material, I'll give you full credit for it. So those are, again, free points. You need to make sure you get each one done, though. They are in the calendar. Every day there's a reading assignment. You need to turn one in. They'll also be in the daily folders, which we'll look at here in a little bit. Okay, so at the end of the semester, I will add up all of your grades. I'll take an average for quizzes, an average for exams, so on, and I will determine your grade on this scale. 60% of your overall grade, so think of it as 60 points out of 100 total, comes from your exams. 15% from quizzes, 15% from worksheets, and then 10% from those reading questions. So your exams are going to have more of an impact on your grade than the other ones, but the quizzes, which again are online, you can use your book or other resources. The worksheets, which you can ask me questions about, work with other people, you should do well on those. And then reading questions are just a matter of staying up with the material and doing it when it's required. So, excuse me, so for those 40% of the class, really you should do very, very well, and that can bring up your grade if you don't do as well on the exams. At the end of the semester, I'll just average those. You need to get at least a 90% for an A. Okay, so 190% is an A, and then so on. You do need to get a 90% for an A, and 89.9% is not an A. No matter where I draw the lines, there are going to be some students that are just a little bit shy of it. And I'll have the equal number of people complaining, whether it's 89.5 rounded up or 89.9, just your score. So you have to have at least a 90% for an A. Okay. So just keep that in mind, and your grade is an accumulation throughout the semester. And I know it can be hard, but I have yet to have a student come in and say, I got a 90.01%. I really don't deserve the A. Could you round it down? So if you do come to me at the end of the semester, I'll remind you of this policy. Unless there's some mistake in the way your grade's been calculated, you will have the grade that you earned at the end of the semester. Okay. There's some information about the online stuff. Again, it will talk about how you can minimize any sort of issues. There are always going to be a few that come up. Basically, number one, I give ample time for all of the deadlines. So if you are working on it at, 8 o'clock at night on the day it's due and you have a technical issue, that's a risk you're running. Try and get them done earlier in the day for things but those are easy things. But if it's a worksheet, if it's a quiz, you can take it the day before. If you do run into an issue, immediately send me an email. And I'm not making any promises, especially if it's late at night. But often, if I'm there and I see the email, I can rectify. We can get into an issue to take care of that technical things. Those are rare, and should only be a problem now and then. But there's no way around this. You need a reliable internet connection. They are opening up campus in some student services, so if you don't have access at home, you can come to campus. But it's much easier for you just to find one at home. So please make sure that you have one. You'll need daily internet access Monday through Friday. Okay. Again, please contact me. My office hours. I'll be on Zoom from these times with this meeting link up here. You can use that to review things, ask questions, whatever. I'll be there to be a resource for you on those times. And if they don't work for you, let me know. We can make other arrangements. Okay. What else? The rest of this is if you do need disability assistance, there are great resources on campus. Contact them, communicate with me. We can make resources available for you and accommodations that will help you. Okay. So that's the syllabus. Let's take a quick look at the calendar. The calendar is here. On this link, when you click on it, you're going to get a PDF that basically shows you day to day. So this is great. If you're a calendar person, use this, review it, go over it. It'll tell you every day basically what you need to do. The reading assignments over here. I didn't mention this earlier. We do have a textbook. It's the second edition of Evolution by Bergstrom and Dugatkin. You can rent a version for like 30 bucks, which is pretty reasonable for a textbook. And there are readings on pretty much a daily basis from that. Now, for textbook readings, my recommendation is read them, but read them quickly, maybe even only skim over them. Then listen to the online lectures. Those are posted. We'll look at the first few here in just a bit. Those are posted. They're available on YouTube. You can watch them whenever. You can rewatch them, excuse me, and review them. Okay, so you don't need to read in a lot of detail. We will go over all of the material on those lectures. So if you understand, you can do those. The PowerPoints will also be available in the folder over here. So you can download the PowerPoints, make notes on those if that's helpful for you. If not, that's fine. You just listen to lectures. I do highly recommend taking notes though, which maybe sometimes for online courses there's a tendency not to. You just sit back and listen. But you will find that if you do that, it's easy to miss things. It's easy to let your mind wander, even fall asleep. They're short. I try to keep them under 30 minutes for each one. Sometimes we'll have 2 or 3 for each unit. But the short ones means you can watch them, you get through them. But taking notes, even if you're writing it down, even if you don't review your notes, ideally you will and go back. But even if you don't, the very act of writing down those concepts will help you remember them and integrate them. So take notes, okay? But the calendar is here, so you can review it, use it. These are the deadlines, barring any sort of emergency. It's funny, I usually say, barring any emergency, we won't have any changes to these deadlines. And then, of course, last semester, we have this massive COVID-19, and we had to make major changes. So cross our fingers, but barring any major emergencies, this will stay exactly the way it is. Okay, if there are, I'll make arrangements. I'll put announcements up. We'll post a new calendar, but mostly these are set in stone. Okay, so keep a track of the calendar, print it out if you need it, just use the digital version. But in addition to the calendar, what I've done for this semester to help you is you've got this folder here in the upper left part of the course content called Daily Links. And every day that we have a scheduled class, Unit 1 is June 1st through June 8th. So you click on that, you click on June 1st, which you're probably listening to this on this day, on June 1st, Monday. And you have a list of all of the things that you need to do on Monday, June 1st. It's a little long for the first day because we're kind of doing oriented. Most of these are fairly short though. Okay, so you have 7 things that you need to do. They're listed. Watch the course instruction video. That's what you're watching right now. And the link is provided here. Read textbook chapter 1. I don't have a link there because you just need to look at chapter 1 in your textbook and read that. Paper 1, Dobzhansky. So you have a link to that here. Those papers are also put here in the readings folder, so you can access them either way. You can access them on the daily stuff, or if you want to go back and look at them, papers 1 through, I think there are 13 of them, will be posted here in the readings folder. Okay. Answering questions and submit for paper number 1 and 2. That's a to-do list. The item here is right below it. So when you click on that, you're going to have open-ended questions. Again, this is the one you get full credit. So as long as you put something, it can be short, it can be succinct. If you want to write longer, that's fine. I won't grade you on content as long as it's something meaningful. So you put your answer here, hopefully spelled correctly. Same thing. Hopefully, a sentence, 2 sentences, phrases, that's fine. I won't look at them closely. If you do them and get them in on time, that's done. So for Monday, every day there's a reading assignment, you will need to answer a couple questions on those reading assignments. You submit them, boom, you've got full credit for that. Okay. So that is, they're listed also on the content for Monday, June 1st. Okay. And then the way that we're doing lectures is that you have these videos, and they're links. I've posted them on YouTube. I think that's the easiest. It's the most universal platform. So as long as you have a web browser, pretty much you can watch YouTube videos. So these are links to my YouTube channel. There's a number of stuff there. It's really not organized, but you don't need it to be organized because you just click on the link. It will take you there immediately, and you have the first video for you to watch, right? So you can click on that and play that again. You will need an internet connection, but you can watch them over and over again. You can watch them anytime. Most of the time, I will break these units up into subcategories. So usually we'll just have 1 unit for each day. We have 2 for our first day because it's, first of the semester. And so there's a little bit more here, but often I'll have 2 or 3 subunits. So unit 1.1 and 1.2. I only have the one for 1.2. So you have these 3 things to do. Once you hit number 7, you're done. Okay, that's all you need to do for that day. Okay, so those daily links will help you if that's all you use. If you follow those, you'll be fine. I'll put links for everything you need to do for that day in those courses. You've got links to syllabus and calendar here. We already looked at that. All of the PowerPoint presentations, you don't need them, but if you want to use them, they're listed here. Okay, so the PowerPoint presentations, you can follow along, but they're the same ones that you'll see when you're watching the videos. Okay, so they're all, I think I've got the first 2 up, and the others will come as I post the videos for the rest of the coursework. SLOs is empty right now, but I will post the first, begin to post them for the first unit so you can look at them. An SLO is an acronym for Student Learning Outcome. It's essentially a guideline to help you know what material you need to know, what questions you need to answer. If you use them as a guide as you're taking notes or as a guide as you're studying, getting ready for the exam, they'll be great assistance and help for you to prepare and get ready, make sure that you've mastered the material. So take a look at those. If you have any questions, you can go back to the lectures for that day. You can go back to the PowerPoints. You can do readings of your book. You can ask me, send me an email, log on during one of the Zoom meetings. I'm happy to help you fill out those SLOs. And if you master those, you'll have the vast majority of what you need for each of the exams. Okay. The readings are here. I posted the first couple already, for the first entire unit. So they're there. You can access them there. There also will be links under the daily links for each of the readings when you need to do them. Worksheets will be posted here. I'll also post reminders on the daily on the day that they're due, but you should probably look at them and start working on them earlier. So follow the calendar. Make sure you get those done. Again, you can work on them in groups. They're Word documents. You'll download them, work on them, modify them, save them as a Word document, a PDF, or a JPEG, and then submit them on that assignment in Blackboard. And that first one may even be there by the time you're watching this video. If not, it will be there shortly thereafter. The quizzes and exams folders are simply there to hold links to the weekly quizzes and links to the exams when they're going to be posted. In addition, once the availability period is over, I will post keys for both the quizzes and the exams. So after you've taken them, you'll be able to review them, go over your questions. You'll see the answers, which ones you got right, which ones you got wrong. So that will be a valuable resource for you to go back over your material. And then finally, this last folder here is just additional resources. And the additional resources, I've got a couple things that I'll use from time to time. It's just basically a catch-all holder for those things. One of the things that you do have in there, which some students like, I put a grade estimator in there. So some people have trouble calculating a grade that's weighted with 60% being exams. So this is an Excel spreadsheet. It'll open up here shortly that you can use. Maybe it won't. I saved it. Okay. So you can do it. So you can change this and say, oh, I've averaged on my first exam, I got a 70%. And so you can put that in there and say, okay, I got a 70% on my first exam. My quizzes, I'm doing really well. I'm doing a 98% average. Drop your lowest score, worksheet average. So once your grades start to accumulate, if you want to, enter your averages here, it will give you a kind of where you're at in the course. And again, the exam, because it's weighted at 60%, is going to have the largest. But again, notice if you're doing well on the other components, right? So let's say at the end of the semester you have 95% averages or high averages on your quiz. You're doing well, then that will bring you up a full letter grade in this case. So these are largely keeping up, making sure you're staying current, participation points, and you should do very well on there. And so that can be a significant boost to your exam grade. So even though most of your grade is made up from the exam, it's still important that you keep up and do those other 3 components also. So that's there if you want to calculate your grade at any point. That's the formula I will use when I calculate your grade at the end of the semester. In addition, you can find all your grades under this tool. There are various other links, some of which we don't use. But if you have any questions, if anything was not clear for this overview, please send me an email or just log on for the Zoom meeting. I'll actually be, because I don't know if students might log on at the regular class time, I'll be on at 8 a.m. on the first day of class, and then thereafter for our regularly scheduled Zoom meetings. You don't have to attend those. All the material is there. It's posted, it's available, but if you just want to come in and listen, or if you have specific questions you want to ask, or you're just curious about extra things you maybe saw in the news or on a nature channel or something, I'm happy to provide whatever information I can. Okay, so you can log in and get whatever you need. Send me an email or log on to one of those Zoom questions if you have any uncertainties or questions about the way the course will work, how you will be assessed, etc. Again, I can't stress this enough. In closing, stay current. These daily links will help you to do that. Again, if you miss some or one day and then get caught up the next day, that's fine. But if you get too far behind on these summer courses, they go by fast, and it will be very hard and very detrimental to your grade if you fall behind. So please don't fall behind.